I was a little offended. I think they said like sometimes they're funny, and I'm like, oh, come on. What do you mean sometimes?
Hey man, I'll take it. I'll take
Yeah,
it.
it's
Usually,
better than
most of the
nothing.
time, I'm told I'm not funny.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Al's
yeah.
just like, stop. She just wants me to stop talking. She's just like, you're not funny. You're not funny at all.
Yeah. No, I mean, part of the reason we do this is to, give out good information, but, with the kind of just talking about, what we're going through and what we're doing and, just our lives and the updates and stuff. It's funny because then I'll talk to clients and they'll like ask questions about things that I haven't told them, specifically.
Mm-hmm.
They just remember hearing it from the podcast and they'll be like, oh, how's this going? Or how's that going? Or, just it's cool that they get to kind of be a little more engaged with, kind of our daily lives almost at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I get a lot of messages from listeners about that they're going through a lot of the same things too. And so it's been helpful in that sense. And maybe they're not getting advice particularly about everything, but just knowing that it's not just them going through it and kind of hearing how we're dealing with it and maybe learning from our mistakes about describing some of the things we're going through. But one way or another, it's been really cool to connect with people and just, it's been awesome. Yeah. It's really cool. Really cool.
My camera's falling down over here, so if you're watching on YouTube, then that's what's
going
on.
Sorry. We're hoping sooner than later we'll have an actual setup where we can all be together and do this in person and bring you guys a little bit higher quality versions for our YouTube channel and things like that. And if you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, make sure you swing by there, subscribe. Champion Living Fitness, just throw her in the search box. It'll pull us up. We got all kinds of stuff on there. We got demo videos, we got random rodeo videos, rides, maybe a couple of wrecks on there. And we've got full length episodes, all video, through our online studio of our podcast episodes you can check out. We started that, I want to say about 6 or 7 episodes ago. So you guys will be able to swing by, check those out, see our ugly faces on here, and just check it out.
Get to hang out with us a little bit.
Yeah, and any feedback too you guys have, we always appreciate that. And this is for y'all, so we want to make sure that we're catering it to you and what you guys want to hear and all the things, what you want to see. So drop us a DM, drop us comments, whatever. And we're always big fans of constructive criticism and making things better, right?
Absolutely. And pretty soon, I'm assuming we'll probably have some videos up from the second OPA. So that'll be, definitely check that out. We posted, I think, 2 or 3 maybe different videos, maybe 4, from the first one. And so kind of some highlight clips, walking through some of the client or the student, transitions, like how they, where they started in the school and where they ended up. We talked about it, exhaustively before, but every single student at the first one made significant progress. And so it's really cool to see like what their first horse looked like, the process they went through to kind of clean things up, the coaching, all very coachable students, and then, how they applied it on their final outs at the school. And like, you could see noticeable differences. So, we'll be, I think by the time this comes out, we'll be just wrapped up with the second one and hopefully be posting some videos pretty quick. So it'll be awesome.
Yeah, that's coming up really fast. We, about a week, little over a week till we all get there as coaches. You guys fly in that Saturday night and we'll be rocking and rolling. We're doing it a little different this time too. So we've got a lot more things for the athletes and the guys attending. We've got partners which are teaming up with us to bring us resistance bands for the guys to work out with and to show them how to work out on the road, how to work out in the gym. We're actually cooking all of our own food this time, so we get to throw that into the nutrition class, and I'm pumped because it's gonna be hilarious to watch these guys try and cook for a bit and kind of teach them, about how to be in a kitchen and how to do all of that. So I'm looking forward to. Yeah, I'm yeah, like, oh, you came to rodeo school. Well, we're gonna learn how to cook lunch today. But it's so important. It's life skills, and they're going to take away so much from this. And we've got some guys coming in to help us teach some things that we know well, but they're experts in. And the financial side is one of those things I'm really excited about. got Jeff Smith from Colorado Craft Beef. He is a man, like a finance guru. He knows all of the things about money, how to make money, how to save money, and how to make money work for you. So I'm excited to have him kind of chime in and tell his 2 cents to these guys. And he added some cool things to our training book that we have ready for all of the guys coming, that it's like a workbook they get to take home with them. So, you learn a lot in those 4 days, and we throw a lot at you. So having that workbook to look back at, I think, is really important. And I'm pumped, man. I'm fired up.
Yeah, I'm stoked with like some of the people that have gotten on board with this now and are partnering up with us, that are going to be making appearances out there, because I feel like that is only going to, well, one, it's going to create rodeo fans right out of the box. Like the whoever's going to be out attending, if this is their first experience with rodeo or whatever, like they're going to probably fall in love with it right then and there. But then like they're going to be able to go back to their company or headquarters, or their friends and family, and share that with them. And we're just growing the fan base of rodeo this go around, like alongside of developing these professional athletes. And so I think that's really exciting, because there's something about rodeo, and I think we've said this maybe in like episode 1 or 2, where we just spent a whole episode talking about how America needs rodeo right now. Like, it brings us back to our roots. It brings us back to, like, when kids are growing up, they play cowboys. Like, that's like one of the, you might play cops and robbers with the neighborhood kids, or you're going to play cowboys with the neighborhood kids. Like, those are kind of the things that they do.
Yeah.
And so like everybody's got this, like, I don't know if you want to call it an innate like desire, but at some point I would venture in to say most people's lives, like, they want to be a cowboy. And so with the varying broadcast channels, be it Cowboy channel, or social media, where we're putting rodeo in more people's homes. And so they're getting to access like this cowboy sport, where it's not necessarily the day work version of being a cowboy, but like you get to be cowboy for a little bit. When people, even when people go to rodeos for the first time, how they dress. Like, they try super hard to dress like cowboys.
I love it.
They'll go to the Western store just to get their first pair of boots, their first hat. And like, I feel like that's only going to continue. And I think, Yellowstone's definitely helped that out too. Everybody sees that and they want to be cowboy.
Heck yeah, man. There's a lot of things in the world that are going on today that are helping people gravitate towards the Western way of life. And I think the simplicity of that life, and I don't mean it's simple to live that way. I mean, just getting out of the technology, the busyness of the world today, I think is very appealing to a lot of folks. So the Western way of life is obviously a direct path to that, I would say. And also rodeo wise, the excitement of rodeo, the excitement of, if you are a rodeo cowboy, or someone wants to, cowgirl, like, wants to get into rodeo, there's nothing like that sport in the lifestyle. You are kind of a gypsy. You are getting to travel around, see the coolest places in the world. You're getting to be around usually your best friends in the world throughout the time, because that's what rodeo family becomes, is your family and your best friends. You see them more than your regular family if you're out on the road, so having that camaraderie, having that brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever it is, just family anywhere you go, to me is the coolest thing. And that's what I love about rodeo, is just how open everybody is and willing to help. And you're competing against the guy next to you, but you're in the truck with him, splitting the bills, trying to get from next place to next place, helping each other do better and achieve those goals. There's nothing like it. And I think that if you never rodeoed before and you've always, thought about it or wanted to do it, like, I think that's probably one of the most appealing things about it, is you getting to just be on the road and be free. You get to do whatever you want. You're your own business. It's there. Literally, you are living a rock star life in a sense. You're not making rock star money, but that time freedom is worth that trade for money, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. That was definitely one of the things that drew me in. And I was that kid that wanted to be a cowboy, but I didn't grow up, on a farm. I grew up kind of in a little neighborhood. My mom had horses growing up. Her sisters had some horses, but like that really wasn't, anything that we did on a normal basis. And I always loved watching rodeo on TV, especially the PBR at that time. And I wanted to find a way to get involved, and I kind of stumbled upon it. Really, I think maybe I found a book at the library, and it was like all about the different rodeo events. And it was probably a really old book, but it was like a book for kids. I was maybe in second or third grade, and I find this book, and it's talking about all the different events and the different ways to be involved in rodeo. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Because oddly enough, watching PBR, I was like, man, that's crazy. I would never get on bulls. And then fast forward, that was what I ended up falling in love with. But at those early stages, I just saw that okay, you can rope, you can. There's barrel racers, there's bronc riders, like there's all these different things, and like they get these cowboys are out there competing, just like these other sports. And at that time, I had just played football or baseball or basketball, and it was like, this seems like something that I could probably do. And then I got to a page in that book where it said youngsters can try out steer riding, and I was like, whoa, that's something I could do. And so then I'm like in the library all the time looking for different rodeo books and stuff and trying to find out all about it, because like all these different, each book had its own little, different opinion on or different pictures and stuff like that. It was probably just pictures I was looking at that point, but yeah, I was super interested. And for anybody that isn't involved in rodeo right now, but like maybe you are that person thinking about it, like just because you don't want to get on bulls, there's other ways to go about it. Like you could, there's the timed events, there's you basically have the timed events and the rough stock events, but there's kind of, rodeo's got something for everybody, if that makes sense. Like there's something that you can get involved in either as a competitor or not. But
absolutely, man. And for anyone listening that's never rodeoed before or anything like that, we're going to kind of talk about how to get into rodeo if that is you. The things, we'll go through the events really quickly, how to kind of prepare yourself for rodeo physically, mentally, and just the best paths to get into the sport. And again, this can be, we talked on the last episode about doing things beyond competing, right? We talked about working in committees and all that. This is more of a episode about pushing the sport forward, right? We want to help people get into it. And I love that you talked about, you're doing all these sports as a kid. Like that's the best thing you can do as a child or a young athlete, is play as many sports as you can, and then supplement that with rodeo, with your practice, because it's only going to make you better at being an athlete all around, and it's going to make you better in the arena. You'll notice that kids that have an athletic background, it might not be rodeo, when they start competing, they usually excel or develop a lot quicker than someone that doesn't have any athletic background. But enough on that. Let's get into the events. And if you rodeo, you obviously know all this, but feel free to listen in, and if we mess anything up,
odds are you probably do rodeo, or you have some experience if you're listening to this. But this might be a great episode to share with somebody who has not yet. Maybe they ask you questions, and you can point them in our direction.
Absolutely. So let's start with rough stock events. We've got bucking horses and we have bucking bulls. Bareback riding is going to be only using a handhold it's called a riggin. You're going to wedge your hand in there, roll it back, and the goal is to spur the horse's neck. Every time he comes up, your feet shall be coming up towards your handle, and you want to be setting your feet back to his neck every time before he hits the ground. Stay in perfect timing. You're getting judged on this. Half of the points are going to the rider, half the points are going towards the animal, 50 points for each. And that is how you get your score out of 100. If you are, a good score is 90 to 80. In the 90s or 80s, you're riding well. 70s is a decent score. 60s and below is not going to place at any professional rodeo, but lots of amateur rodeos, it will place there. Saddle bronc riding, again, another bucking horse. By the sounds of it, saddle, they have a saddle on them, right? That's the difference between the bareback riding and the saddle bronc riding, and they're holding onto a hack rein, something to keep tension with the horse's head that's going to keep them planted down in their saddle. the goal is still to spur the horse, but they are spurring from the front of the neck back to the cantle of the saddle. Same thing. As the horse is coming up, those feet are dragging back to the cantle, and they want to be set back to the front in their neck before the horse is touching back to the ground on their front side. Again, for all rough stock events, it's going to be 50-50 on the points. 2 judges, 1 on each side, is going to have 25 points each for animal and rider. And so again, same thing on the scores. 90s, 80s, great scores. 70s, decent. 60s and 50s, not going to place it any kind of professional rodeo. Bull riding is going to be the same exact thing, y'all, except for they're on a bull and they have a rope that they're holding on to. Bulls are going to buck a lot different than horses. They are going to be a lot closer to the chutes. They turning back left and right as they're bucking a lot of times. You'll see a lot of horses are going down the pin. They'll get a lot further. They're also a lot taller and longer animal than a bull. This is your event, buddy. What do you got to add on that?
Yeah, I would say like the main difference between like the scoring in bull riding and the bucking horse events is in the bucking horses, spurring is a requirement for a good score. Whereas in bull riding, spurring is not necessarily a requirement, but if for some reason the athlete is able to let loose and spur, then it just shows that he's in more control and it can gain him some more points. But that's really the main difference. All of the rough stock events are done with one hand in the apparatus that they're holding on to. One hand is up in the air, and you stay on for 8 seconds, and then you get your score based off of how well you are in control and how well the animal performs. So it's kind of being a judged event. It is a little, probably it's subjective, like, so it's different than say the timed events where it's all against the clock. I always compare bull riding, any of the rough stock events, really, you could compare them to like competitive figure skating or snowboarding, where you are judged on the difficulty of the trick that you were trying to perform and how well you execute it.
Same thing, being judged on difficulty of the horse and how well you are riding and showing control of that animal is what they're looking for. So in the horse riding, like he said, you've got to be spurring these animals and be in time with them and beating them to the ground. Bull riding, you do not have to spur them, but if you do, you're just racking up those points as you're doing it. Timed events. So this is, most of them are done with a rope. 2 events are done without a rope. We'll get into team roping. Team roping is probably one of the most popular sports out there when you think of the Western industry. You have a header and a heeler, both mounted on horses. They are roping a steer. The header is roping the horns. He is going to turn left, and as that steer comes around and gets that 45 degrees, or is that a 90 degree? I guess that'd be a 90 degree turn.
Oh, 90 degree, yeah.
Yep. The heeler will come through and rope his back feet. The steer has to get around that turn. It has to be faced to the left before you can throw the heel loop. Otherwise, you're penalized, or I think it's a no time, or you're added on time. Again, I'm not a really good team roper, so.
But I'm glad you said it was the most popular, because I think that's definitely true. You can go just about anywhere in the country and find a team roping pen, and a plethora of cowboys waiting to have either a little friendly competition, or all the way up to really big money competitions, and some serious money can be won in team roping, really serious money. But I think it's probably the most popular because it might be the most accessible.
Absolutely.
Obviously you do have to have a horse and you need to be able to rope, but the physical accessibility of it, you're not having to, you're probably not going to fall off very much. You're not getting slammed to the ground.
Yeah, barriers to entry are way different.
It's a lot more friendly as far as like safer. Yeah.
Safer.
If there's such a thing as a safe event in rodeo, it is a safer one for sure.
Absolutely. And like you said, most accessible for sure. I think anywhere you live in the United States, you can find a team roping pin probably pretty damn close to where you are. And I'd say even on the East Coast, it's getting that way. It's just growing so much. Calf roping, tie down roping, I think is the next thing we should get into. This is the OG sport, right? The thing that started rodeo, when they were out on the ranch and they were they were messing around. They were having little competitions. Who could doctor calves faster? Who could rope one, tie one out in the field? And that's how calf roping came around. If I had to guess, I'm not 100% certain on that, but I think I've heard that before. Right. Yeah. And so the goal of this is one cowboy is going to rope a calf. The calf is going to take off from the chute. He has to, we didn't talk about this in the team roping either, but there's a barrier. So there's a line across the chute that the horse is running through, and that is attached to a line around the animal's neck, the calf or the steer. That steer or calf has to get a certain distance out from the chute before you cross that line. Otherwise, you are penalized. It's breaking the barrier. You're supposed to give the animal the advantage. So giving them a little head start before you start is the goal. Obviously, you want to be as close to that line as possible. So you do see, especially at a really competitive level, guys breaking the barrier and things like that, but they're trying to win. Anyways, they're going to rope the calf. They're going to step off their horse, run down the line, and tie 3 legs up. That calf has to remain tied for 6 seconds, 7 seconds, something like that. Not bad for a couple of roughies knowing these rules, actually.
Knocking it out.
Yeah, but and then the fastest time
is going to go off of or something.
Right, we should have wrote notes about this stuff. Yeah, about these events. We're like, yeah, we rodeo, we know all this, and I'm sitting here going through like, ooh, calf roping, yeah. That's the one event that I think more guys should be training for. If I had to say anything,
it's very dynamic. Like there's a lot going on.
You need to be athletic. You need to be strong, and I was thinking about this morning, and I was working out, and I don't know why I was thinking about calf ropers in particular, but I see it more with this group than any, and they will start training, they'll feel good, and then they stop because they think it's just going to be there. And then they go back to that stage that they were in, not competing well, not feeling very well. And they repeat that cycle over. I've seen more calf ropers repeat that cycle than realizing like the correlation between, damn, I feel not good because I haven't been training. Oh, when I'm training, I feel good and I'm winning. It's not a coincidence, like we've said a million times. But for some reason in that event, they like to do that. And I don't get it. I don't understand it because they are having
the physical demands of it.
Yes, they're having alone to be so much more
physical. are so high. Like you have to be a good horseman. You have to be able to ride. You have to be able to rope. You have to be quick enough to get down the rope to get to your calf. You have to athletic power clean a freaking calf. Yep. And then you have to be fast with your hands to be able to tie him. And there's so much going on, and like just to echo what you said, like in all events, physical preparation is important, but maybe even most in the calf roping event.
Yeah. And you see these long, tall guys, lots of calf ropers, really tall and skinny. And if they would just put a little work in and put some strength in those levers that they have, just based off how they're built, dude, they would be freaks. Mm-hmm. But they don't want to do it. I don't understand. So if you want to get in calf roping, I highly suggest working out. Really, really do. And there's lots of schools you can go to learn how to tie calves and things like that. Again, there's going to be some barriers to entry there. You have to have a calf roping horse. That's probably the biggest one. And then you have to be athletic enough to actually do the event, right?
Yeah. But if you are interested in calf roping, I think Tyson Durfee is doing a really, really good job.
He's doing a great job
getting education out there for aspiring calf ropers,
and having camps and clinics and hands-on work that he's teaching you guys how to train a little bit. He's teaching you about the sport. I think he's even teaching about professional skills, kind of what we do at OPA. So check out Tyson Durfee's stuff, guys. If you're a calf roper and wanting to get into it, I know he's putting on some really cool stuff, and definitely worth checking out. The opposite end of calf roping, or the female version of this, is breakaway roping, which has really just come into the professional realm here as of recently. I would say that's probably the fastest growing event in rodeo.
It's exploding in popularity right now.
It's crazy. And it's also, we're seeing a huge influx of girls that are coming in to train because it is so competitive. They're trying to give themselves every advantage they can. And we're seeing that work incredibly well in the arena too. But breakaway roping is different in the sense from calf roping. The girls are not having to get off their horse and tie the calf. They are, their rope will break away off of the calf's neck as it tightens. So when that gets tight, it'll pop off and the calf will keep running. That is going for time, fast times, really, really, really fast times, like unreal to think about. Some girls that are winning a rope in these calves in 1.9 seconds, 1.7 seconds. Like it's hard to think about that they're roping them so quick. But again, that's it's cool. It's the fastest growing sport I'd say in rodeo right now. I think that it needs to be added to every professional rodeo in the performance, at least one of them, to show what's going on. It's fun to watch. It's fun to get. It's easy to get into, even if you're a dude and don't want to watch any of it. I get fired up watching it. It goes quick. It's only helping progress the sport and help more cowgirls show up and get involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of cowgirls, I'll let you handle the barrel racing.
Yeah, I know all about that. No, I know almost nothing about barrel racing. So, barrel racing is another very, very popular one. Like there's standalone barrel racing events again all over the country. If there's a team rope and pen near you, there's also probably a barrel racing that's held in that same arena. So barrel racing is just one cowgirl, one horse, and they're going to run around in a clover leaf pattern. They're going to run around 3 barrels that are placed out in the arena, and they are going to fastest time wins. So it's very, very competitive. Again, like girls will do everything they can to make sure their horse is in tip-top shape, to make sure that they are aware of the arena, aware of the surroundings. Like they'll do research on like what the ground is going to be like. It's very, very competitive. They get very serious about it. And it is another one that, like you said, is I don't know if it's growing in popularity. I think it had its growth, several years ago. But it's remained just as popular ever since then. It's another that's accessible, like team roping is.
Absolutely. That's also one of the other event that we see a lot of competitors not putting the money into themselves and their body. And it makes no sense to me, because you put all this money into your horse performing well and you are not at in shape to be riding that horse. Pouring more money into supplements for that horse is not going to help him compete any better, because you can't ride him worth a shit. Right. So anyone that's thinking about barrel racing, you've got to think about you as the jockey as being at least 50% of that. How you ride that animal, he's a tool. If he can only perform as well as his user. So if you are out of shape and not able to ride well, you're not going to perform well and you're not going to win. And that's the bottom line now. And it's getting so competitive, like Paul was saying, you're talking about hundreds of a second sometimes, separating winning, going to an NFR and not, it's crazy. So giving yourself every advantage, I think is huge in that sport. And it needs to be said more that, you can't put Band-Aids on a bullet hole. You can't fill something with supplements and expect it to do better if you're not helping the other half of that, which is you as the rider. Let's talk about, we talk about preparation for rodeo all the time. So I feel like if anyone listening wants to hear about how to prepare for rodeo, you can go listen to the last 91 episodes and kind of check it out and get a deep dive. I would say the basic physical and mental preparation. Let's just get into a quick couple minutes on that. Physically, you need to be exercising. You need to be resistance training, doing some kind of weightlifting. You need to be focusing on working times being about 20 to 30 seconds for exercises, right? That's about what you're doing in competition. You don't need to be running miles. That's for damn sure. That's not going to help you in any capacity in the rodeo arena. So don't do that. Building your core is going to be the next thing. And that's a really bland statement, but really focusing on all planes of movement. We just talked about this on one of the last episodes. But really working on those riding muscles, those adductors, your abductors, your hips, your hip flexors, psoas, all those little things that you don't think about. Those are the things that are going to make the difference in your career as a rodeo athlete, and the longevity of your career is taking care of those stabilizing muscles and working on rotation, anti-rotation, flexion, extension, all those things throughout your core. Mentally, I think if you're a new athlete or just getting into the sport, especially rough stock, it can be overwhelming at times. You might be a little scared, which I'm going to say right now, if you're scared, that's 100% normal. Like that's okay. Every single person that has gotten and started riding rough stock was scared at one point. It's how you handle that fear that's going to determine everything for you. So mentally, go into it with an open mind. Know that if you're going to a rough stock camp, it's okay to be nervous and scared. That's the thing, that fight or flight in you. That's what you're going to use to succeed and hang in there and be tough. And you get to use that fear to fight for your life, right? Instead of running for it. And so that's kind of the cool thing. And so what I would say on that end is too, is like, pick a good rodeo school to go to, pick a good school to go to first, some people that you trust, do some research, like see the results they're getting, like we say all the time, but trust in what they're teaching you and only focus on those things when you get to the school. Don't worry about, there's going to be a lot of extra chatter. There's going to be guys sitting there trying to tell you stuff that have never gotten on before. They're going to be projecting their own fears onto you. Like lots of shit's going on at these schools. Stay in your zone, stay in your lane, focus on what the coaches are telling you and do those basics perfect. And it's going to turn out great. You're still going to be nervous and you're still going to be a little scared, and that's good. But if you can focus that energy on doing those basics to fight for your life, it's going to be, it sounds a little intense, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah. The biggest battle in any of the rough stock events happens right between your ears. Like it is, I would say it's at least 90% of a mental game. And like Doug was saying, like you have to, if you enjoy the challenge of trying to quiet that internal chatter and literally block out the external chatter of the other guys that are back there, then that could be a challenge that you might enjoy. Being scared and being afraid happens to everybody. And I would say that you never really get over it. You just kind of get used to it. And then eventually that kind of becomes why you do it in the first, like at all. Like it's fun. Like the risk, the fear, or the idea of the unknown. Like you don't know what that animal's going to do. All you know is how you're going to react. And that is the entire challenge. That's the entire battle. And it happens mostly right there in your head. And so, we were both rough stock guys, and obviously fell in love with it, became our life's passion. And there's a reason for that, because that challenge never stops. It's there every single time, and it's a lot of fun.
It is. And when you learn to manage it and you succeed and like you manage that unknown, you overcome it and conquer it, there's no feeling like it. It's the best thing in the world. And I'd imagine in the timed events, it's the same thing. Like when everything flows and feels great, you're doing great, but just focus on what you can control. That's the only thing that matters in rodeo. And there's going to be a lot that you can't, and the animal is 50% of that. So you're going to draw bad horses. You're going to draw bad calves. You're going to have shitty days. The thing is remembering, going back to those basics and saying that doesn't define me at all. I just had a really good learning moment there. I learned what I don't need to do. And a lot of the time is I'm overthinking this. I need to stop overthinking and just execute A, B, and C. And I have calls with my really elite athletes a lot about that in particular, just keeping it that simple. Because as you elevate your career, you think that you have to keep changing what you're doing and doing things differently to keep getting there. And in all reality, that did have to happen for a little bit because you were learning each time. But once you hit this point, what you need to do is focus on doing the basics perfect and continuing to do what got you there, right? There's going to be a point where you really don't do things that different. You just continue to work and continue to grind. And that's the kind of the mind fuck of it all, is that people get stuck in. And I think that's why they stop, or take a break and they're like, oh, I'm good. Like they get bored with it, or they don't understand you have to keep doing these things consistently or else they go away.
Yeah, the fundamentals on a beginner level animal are the exact same as the fundamentals on an elite level animal.
Yep.
Like
does not matter what they're doing.
Yeah, the intensity and the accuracy that you can apply those fundamentals, that's what makes you an elite athlete. Like there's really nothing other than that.
Boom.
Yeah.
Simple. Like it really is simple to get there. It just takes time, and most people aren't dedicated enough. They're motivated by the possible potentially winning something or being famous or whatever it is, but they're not dedicated to it. And that's where you see that the greats show up, and the people that are just average just continue to stay where they are. They aren't willing to take that next step and really dedicate themselves to it. And that's doing shit when you don't want to, in case you're wondering what dedication is. And I'm dedicated to working out because I know how it makes me feel. I know how I complete my everyday tasks when I work out. And I don't want to work out all the times now. I don't have a goal. I'm not a professional athlete. My only goal is to feel good, look good, and be healthy, right? So it's much easier at times to be like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. But I'm dedicated to it. I know even when I don't want to do it, if I go do it, I'm going to feel better. I'm going to be so happy I did. So same thing as an athlete. Like you've got to see that each workout is putting you more ahead in what you're doing. And just know, even though you don't want to do it, that doesn't matter. You got to keep going. You got to keep doing it. And I'm not saying go and kill yourself at the gym every day just because you have to. I'm just saying purposely and intentfully do things that are actionable towards your goals every day. And that could be an active recovery day. But no matter what it is, keep moving, keep working towards it.
Yep.
Let's talk about gear real quick, because I
Yeah.
think this is something that gets skipped over with beginners, especially. I'm not saying you have to go out and get a brand new equipment, but if you're going
especially if you're just trying it for the first time,
Yeah.
if you show up to a rodeo school or a practice, facility, like odds are there's going to be some equipment that you can at least borrow for your first time to see if you even like this thing.
Yeah, and I would reach out to them, like the school, and be like, "Hey, like I'm a beginner. I don't," and even just going, even if they don't have equipment, go learn about the basics. Go get your feet wet. Go
Learn
see
about
what
the
these.
equipment.
Yes, go learn about what you're actually purchasing, using all the things. We get all the time. We get guys showing up to schools on the other spectrum is like they have all this stuff, but they have no idea what it is. So educate yourself, learn about it. If you've never been. We had a kid come to the Ace High School last time, and he was from Mexico. He just wanted to learn about it. He didn't want to get on, so we put him on the bucking machine when someone's rigging, spur out horses. He on the spur board, and then he worked out with us for 4 days, and he loved it, and he learned so much from it. And I think he's continuing on doing his. Sorry, my dog is going crazy over here. Go learn. Don't be afraid to get your feet wet and not be getting on. Don't worry about what people are going to think about you or whatever. Like, go there open-minded and go learn about something that you might be passionate about. And you're going to get so much more. The coaches are not going to think any less of you. I promise you. They're going to actually respect you, and you know where you are. You know what you want to do, and you're learning it the right way. That's the most important thing about rodeo.
Yeah, and if you are in the market for equipment, you can check out our partner Beastmaster. They have the best equipment for the elite level athletes all the way down to beginning level athletes. They've got different price ranges for, your spurs or your protective vest, the maybe bull riding equipment, like the gloves and ropes and stuff might just be, what's going to be best for the beginner is probably going to be best for the elite guy. It's just really finding out, what style of things you like, and there's no better way to find out what style of things you like than going and trying it at a school. Borrow some equipment, pick up used equipment. Maybe I shouldn't even say that, because sometimes used equipment is plumb wore out and it gets passed down to a beginner level guy, and he ends up getting hurt but using that. So but once you do get your basics and your fundamentals at your first school or your first practice pen, check out Beastmaster, see what they have to offer, because odds are that it is going to be something that you're able to use, whether you choose a rough stock route or you choose one of the timed events. They've got something for everybody.
Yeah, and if you have questions about the gear, I know firsthand that you can call up there and they will answer your questions. You can shoot them messages on Instagram, Facebook, email, whatever it is. They have an awesome customer service team that is more than helpful, and not just in dealing with customer service issues, but actually providing information about the product, feedback. They are going out and doing real life testing, asking the elite of the elite from each event, how can we make these products better? And they're doing it. So
and
check them out.
Everybody that works there either rodeos or has rodeoed, so they know how to use everything. Like they're very well in tune with their stuff. Nick
literally said, like, on the weekends it's a ghost town because everyone's rodeoing. He's like, everyone takes Thursday, Friday, gone. See ya. They're on the road, so it's cool. They're putting it all in the work, and they're actually testing their products. They live it, which is badass, right? So beastmasterrodeo.com. You can use our discount code CHAMPIONLIVING, all one word, going to be uppercase, going to save you 10% on all their gear, and they'll have the gear out the door quick to you, which is another bonus with them. Let's wrap this up with getting involved in rodeo, and we talked about this on our last episode, but if you're someone that's new, like we said earlier in this episode as well, go find a school. Go find a school that is near, maybe a little far. Like sometimes you have to travel a little bit for these things, but go get your feet wet. Go see if this is something that you like. Go to a rodeo. Go to more rodeos. The summertime is kicking off. There's, if you live in the north, for sure, there's probably a rodeo within an hour of you, like every month, at least, I would say. Here at Northern Colorado, there's literally rodeos every week. Coming through here that you can go check out and start talking to committee members, start talking to contestants. Like everyone there is going to be willing to chat with you and help. Yep.
Yeah. There's a right way to get started and there's a wrong way. And the wrong way is to show up to an event with brand new purchased equipment that you have no idea how to use, how to set up, and trying to get on an animal at that rodeo. Like, don't do that.
Don't.
It happens all the time, and it is a horrible way to get started because you have no former education on how to use the equipment or what you're supposed to be doing, and you're probably your chance of getting injured there are a lot higher than say you went through the proper steps to actually go to a school, learn about the equipment, learn how to learn safety. In the rough stock events, one of the most dangerous places in the buck and shoot. And what every school goes over is shoot procedure and how to stay safe inside the buck and shoot. If you show up to your first rodeo and you've never done it before, that's a bad place to learn that because you're probably going to learn it the hard way. So definitely go to a school. If you have a practice pen near you and you're not quite ready to invest in the school yet, just go hang out at the practice pen, ask questions, get opinions on why guys use different equipment, and just be around it.
Absolutely. You just got to get in it. It just takes reps of being around it to learn about it. So like he was saying, just don't go just show up to a rodeo and try and enter. It just puts you at a lot of risk for injury, and people are, it's weird, but less willing to help you really. You need to do it the right way. Go. And it's not that they don't want to help you. It's just that when you show up, you literally put everyone in jeopardy like that. It's the stock contractors are at risk because you're a liability in the arena, in the shoots. The bullfighters are at more risk because they're potentially going to have to save you.
The other contestants are less able to help because they have their own business to take care of, at that time. They'd probably love to help you afterwards. But right at that moment, it makes it difficult on everybody.
Yeah. So do it the right way. Go to school, go learn whatever event it is, find someone that's credible and an expert at it, and go get started. And if you are someone that is done rodeoing but still love the sport, go help at these schools. Go help younger generations get started. Everyone had to help us get started. I'm sure you remember who that was for you. So go be that for somebody else. And that's only going to help the sport. And it's going to, honestly, you missed it. I promise. If you say you didn't miss it, you missed it. And you're going to be stoked when you're back around it and back helping. And it's awesome. It really does rejuvenate some things in life and makes you feel good about just being a cowboy. So with that being said, y'all, if you want to get into rodeo, you can check out all of the things on our notes here. We'll have them listed out, just the steps. You can also listen back if you didn't get the whole thing and check it out. If you guys have any questions about how to get involved in rodeo, please shoot us a message, a DM. We'd be more than willing to help, answer any questions about rodeo schools, rough stock schools, whatever it is. And if we don't know the answers, we will refer somebody that does. We will get you the answers for sure, and a credible answer at that. Guys, until next time, we'll catch you later.